We just prepared our project so that we could build Flexbox and learn more about it. Why did we remove all those things? Well, I didn't want any distractions because Flexbox is a little bit more complex than anything we've been doing in CSS so far. That being said, it is very akin to what we learned about already with display block and display inline, in that it is a display type. So we can come over here and going into our main, we can type display. And remember how we had block or inline? Well, you might be thinking Flexbox would be the thing that we write. And that's just not the case. I thought that exact same thing when I first started learning. But really what Flexbox is a bunch of rules for layout. And the way we activate it is by typing flex. So notice what happens when we do that. The card just went full screen in terms of height for the child. Now let's kind of rewind here. Let's like comment this out for a second and go look at our HTML. So you can see we've got a main tag. The main tag is the big blue area that you can see here. And then the section tag is our white card. Now, if your code doesn't look like this, remember you can minimize it over here on the left just by hitting the arrows. So if you're going, wait a second, my code doesn't look like that, remember I'm minimized over here. So I'm going to come over here and just kind of walk through this and take some time here. So the parent element is main. The child element, by nature of nesting, is section. So main, parent, section is child. Main, parent, section is child. So just keep that in mind that these relationships matter extremely. They matter a lot to Flexbox, whereas inline and block, they did matter. Remember, we talked about parent-child relationships, but Flexbox in particular uses parent-child relationships to the nth degree. So that means if we don't have a child relationship here, like this is a grandchild, like this image, this title, this content, these are all considered grandchildren of this big blue box here. That means they would be unaffected by the content that we're going to be writing with Flexbox. So why does all this matter? You're going, okay, I get it. Parent-child relationships, cool. So let's go write that code again and see what's going on here. So we come in here and we uncomment display flex to see what's going on. And you're going, wait a second, why did that thing go full screen? Why is that all white? I don't get it. And then I'm going, okay, look, card, we didn't set an explicit height on it. We could have come in here and said height, 320 px, for example, and then we would see that go away. But I'm going to show you why we want to keep this without a height for now. And rather, we'd want the content, the padding, and the margin to control it. But step one was just understanding that we can even use a display type of flex. So what happened under the hood when we used display flex? Well, something really interesting happened, and it's really hard to see in this first module, but we'll get to the second module, is that an axis was created. What is an axis? Well, it's a direction. So in this case, we've got a direction that has now been created. So any new content that we would add would be flowing in this direction by default. So the default axis that you're going to get in Flexbox is left to right. It just goes one way. So let's kind of prove that out here. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to add another child or a sibling of section. And we're just going to type, you can join me in doing this if you'd like, but I'm just going to type in an H2 here. So let's say H2. Whoa, I got messed up on my keyboard. Is this working? And then I'll say H2 closing tag. Look at that. The H2 did indeed go to the right. So let's see what happens when I remove display flex. H2 is on the bottom because remember, it's display block. It's trying to take up as much space as it can. So when we say display flex, it creates a new direction for all the content. It disrupts the normal flow and creates a new flow. And that is the power of Flexbox. It can do some amazing things. Now you're probably going, interesting. That means we're stacking things left to right. But Josh, I'm still confused as to like why this is full screen here. And why is this even valuable? Well, that comes in the next couple modules, but we really needed to understand, number one, Flexbox is a parent-child relationship-driven property. It's got to be in that order, parent-child. And number two, the default setting for Flexbox when you set it is going to be left to right on your web page. Those two things matter big time for the next modules and the next properties we're going to be introducing.